Alrighty, time for another recap. Midweek recap here. Uh, Lots of trades to go over. Obviously, beginning with Monday. If you saw Sunday's video, I mentioned some stocks on there that I ended up actually trading. And we'll start with FLYX. And this right here was very interesting. Well, first off, let me point out that I found myself in a bit of a overtrading fest on Monday. Um, and I think everything started with this stock kind of throwing me off to get the morning started. But on Sunday, I mentioned that I had FLYX on watch for what would be a breakout, third day surge pattern right here. But it is a very low float stock, which has some funky action from the first day. So I wanted to be really careful because this thing could just, have some wild moves to the up or downside. And sure enough, right out the open, I started building my position right here as it was showing some strength. But this thing tapped the $7, low $7 area, and it pretty much harshly rejected that price. I had about 300 shares with like a $7 average. Let me confirm that over here. Yep, 300 shares with 685 average. And this thing just in one candle, boop, went all the way down to lows, halted for 10 minutes. When as soon as it opened up, this thing was in the fives, so I sold that for a loss, like a 2 hour loss for this type of trade. So that kind of threw me for a loop. A little bit annoying. I don't want to say frustrating, but it was annoying. I saw that one coming. I talked about it in the previous video, yet I still got caught in exactly what I mentioned was a potential play for this stock. But that was that. I let it go. And I went on and pursued some other trades. One of those on GPUS. This stock just continues to be really stubborn with hanging around close to the breakout area in the high 39s. So I was taking some positions here. I didn't lose much on that as the risk was pretty tight. So kind of let that go. The one that I found myself over trading was NBY, as I really wanted to get a bounce on this stock. So went all the way up to $22 in the previous week, coming all the way down from $5-6. And on Monday, this thing pretty much gapped down, and it was just panicking. So we were panicking out of the stock, having a big dump. I was trying to trade it multiple times in this area, missed this here, got back in, and pretty much ultimately ended up getting chopped out in 3 different trades with a decent amount of volume, with decent amount of size. So in between the 3 trades on MBY, the trade on FLYX, and the trade on GPUS, I was down about $1,000 on Monday. Because the trades on MBY were on a setup that more times than not will work out, and I had some conviction on it, I wasn't totally frustrated about the outcome. If anything, at the end of the day, it was kind of like, all right, it was just one of those days where, the play didn't work out. This is, due for a bounce. Just seeing how much it has dropped, and there's no offerings or anything bringing the price down that much. So this is just, shorts covering, longs getting out of their positions. But bit of a hefty loss to start the week. Tuesday, which was yesterday, was more frustrating because I was on the right tracks. So my only trades yesterday were on well, I'll talk about that right now. So MBY, I was holding it through this morning chop, and my plan was to again play the bounce on this, and I had 300 shares with an 1130 average, and because I went to work, because I do have a full-time job, hybrid system, which I go into the office a couple times a week. I wasn't patient enough to let this run throughout the day. I didn't want it I didn't want to be worrying about it while I was out at work. So I pretty much took that trade off around here. I had an 1120 average. I took a baby profit on it. Sure enough, this thing towards the end of the day, it goes up to the 13s. So that got me more frustrated than losing over $1,000 on Monday, because Monday, I lost those with a plan. On Tuesday, it was just me not being patient and letting the play follow through. So that was just really annoying. But again, it happens. The other play was on SIDU yesterday. I was also attempting that first Green Day play in this area. Ended up pretty much failing, so I got out for a small loss on that. And today, SIDU was actually the star of the show. I ended up playing that first Green Day bounce came. So SIDU is very much connected to the price action on Lunar, which seems to be the leader of the two. These aerospace stocks that we've been watching and playing for the past couple of weeks. And as you can see, Lunar had a very strong bounce. And from the morning, when it was holding the lows, I actually started building my position in the high 290s and low threes, and throughout the low threes. So I was holding 1,500 shares from an average of $3.06. And my plan with this was to let it run throughout the day, as I saw that there was much strength again on the leading stock. And that's exactly what I did. I pretty much sold in pieces throughout the day. My first piece being in the 340s and the 350s and 360s, all throughout this area, and even into the 370s, 80s, and my last sell was in the after hours at 390. So for an average of 668, essentially made close to $1,000 on this trade, recovering most of what I lost during the week. These are the types of trades on SIDU that are a reminder of the importance of waiting for the right setups, and not just trying to trade everything that we're seeing there. Of course, earlier in the week, the losses that I took were on setups that I'm familiar with, and more times than not work out. So the same play that I had on SIDU is the one that I was envisioning on MBY on this day. Was just too early, and by the looks of it, this stock is just not going to give us something similar. And it is a pharmaceutical company, so you can't expect the same type of clean movements with these types of patterns with pharmaceuticals as you can with these listed NASDAQ stocks or just tech companies, and especially in a hot sector like the aerospace stocks. So again, it's so far it's a bit of I'm a little bit red on the week. Recovered most of what I had lost Monday and Tuesday today. So I feel really good about that. Overall, I feel good about the trading this week. I think Tuesday was the most frustrating, even though I had a small red day on Tuesday compared to Monday. And that's just the name of the game. So for the rest of the week, I'll continue FLYX, even though it did that weird shit to me. on Monday. If this continues to hold these lows right here in the mid to high 360s, high threes, I'll be looking to play a first Green Day bounce. But again, I really want to be careful with this because, stock is just fucking weird. MBY, I'm starting to move that back more to the back burner. SIDU, I definitely want to see what it does tomorrow, as well as Lunar. If they continue to move with strength, and I'll be looking at SIDU to approach this breakout and even continue going if the sector continues with strength. BNAI had a crazy funky move today, from 4 all the way up to 650, 660. Essentially having a technical, a little bit of a breakout right here in the high 4s. So we'll continue to keep that on watch. I think the main watches are going to be the first 2 or 3 that I mentioned. And that is that for me at the moment. I'll tune in during the weekend, and let's see what other plays we have for Thursday and Friday, if any. And we end the week on a strong note. Alrighty, okay, everyone, that's it for today. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.